with respect to where we are, the House is $7.8 billion below.
That is correct.
The current funding for the foundation school program. The Senate proposal is about $4 billion below.
That is correct.
Okay. So whether it is the House version or the Senate version or anywhere in between, neither proposal fully funds the foundation school program for our local school districts.
That is correct.
And so what we are being asked to consider, for example, and tomorrow with 1811 or any other bill, is a mechanism in order to provide funding to our local school districts below what they are I don't necessarily want to say entitled to receive, but what they would receive under the existing foundation school program allotment.
But now let me make clear, is in 1811 there is some items in that bill that will be able to reduce the cut in our public schools. In the other fiscal matters bill, I think Scott said, was where his amendment is going, and it is to, if we do not fully fund current law on our schools, that his amendment is where we would get under current law.
Okay, so realistically speaking, from where the foundation school program is today, and from where it is today to where likely it may end up being, what do you foresee to be the reduction to be?
You know, we're somewhere, if we pass Senate Bill 1811, we will be somewhere between $4 and $6 billion reduction to our public schools.
Okay, $4 to $6 billion short of funding the foundation school program as it presently exists.
It currently is, yes.
And so essentially, what Representative Hochberg then is looking at or proposing or suggesting is a mechanism to fund that reduction to the foundation school program of approximately $4 to $6 billion.
That is correct.
And so that all of the members fully understand, and I recognize that we are doing this because we've made a decision that we're not going to do any more taxes. I accept that. I don't have a problem with that. I don't want to vote for taxes either. But we've also made a decision that we're not going to use even the rainy day fund to provide funding to our local school districts based on the foundation school program. And it is my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that based on the estimates that at least we have looked at for the rainy day fund, by the end of the next biennium, 2013, the rainy day account, the Economic Stabilization Fund, could conservatively be anywhere between $9 and $11 billion.
Well, you know, I want to be perfectly clear when we're talking about our funding of public schools. If we have a $6 billion cut, we still have to pass 1811 tomorrow.
And I fully understand that, and I appreciate the fact that you're taking out, we're not dealing with the speed up, you made that clear, we're not dealing with the sales tax holiday, we're not going to take that away from individuals. I understand that. And in 1811, we need that because that is a payment to the schools of roughly about $1.8 billion.
That is correct.
I got that. I know we need that. I recognize that. But the point that I want to be very clear is that regardless of whether we're dealing with 1811, whether we're dealing with any other bill, we are looking at a reduction to our local school districts. Whether you're in rural Texas, whether you're in suburban, whether you're in urban Texas, whether it's HISD or the other 3 school districts that I represent, a reduction to our local school districts in terms of the foundation school program, anywhere between $4 to $6 billion.
If we pass 1811, it would be somewhere between $4 and $6 billion.
Right. Now, and I don't want to take up a lot of time, and I'm going to go to my seat. I appreciate what we collectively have done in terms of addressing the provider rates, in terms of addressing nursing homes. But what people also need to fully understand, because we are not raising taxes, because we're not using the rainy day fund, we are underfunding. We are underfunding Article 2, Health and Human Services, Medicaid, which we will have to pay. We are underfunding that by, at a minimum, $4.8 billion.
You know, I started this conversation out today by making it clear that the conferees have not made decisions on Article 3. So it would be hard for me to tell you what the final cuts are going to be until the conferees do their work.
Right, but I'm simply saying, based on the decisions that we have already made, based on the decision that we made last night, we have lowered the provider rate reductions. We've met those needs. We have met the needs, for example, of the nursing homes. But we have done it by underfunding Article 2 on Medicaid. We have underfunded that by $4.8 billion.
You mean for Article 2?
For Article 2 alone. I'm not counting the $4 to $6 billion where we are going to underfund the foundation school program.
You know, so
and I just want to be factually correct. I'm not trying to be pro, con, up or down. But from a factual point of view, the underfunding of Medicaid is $4.9 billion.
Sylvester, we are working on an Article 9 that I told you last night that we were working on an Article 9 amendment to give more money for Medicaid. And how much that's going to be will also depend on what happens tomorrow. That is still up in the air. One of the things that I think you remember from last biennium, when we left here in June or May, we thought we were underfunding Medicaid by $1.8 billion. We thought when we came back into session this year that we would have a supplemental bill of nearly $2 billion just on Medicaid. You helped pass House Bill 4 on this floor that did not include any amount for Medicaid because there were certain savings that were made in Medicaid during the biennium. And we have put items in our budget that we feel like we can save money on Medicaid.
Right, and I'm prepared to do whatever I can to make sure that this budget is balanced. But I'm simply indicating, Mr. Chairman, since we are giving a report to the members, that LBB indicated to us on last night that we are underfunding Article 2 by $4.9 billion.
And that's what LBB told us on Article 2. And as I visited with you last night, we are anticipating an Article 9 amendment. And that is an amount, assuming it remains the same or any portion thereof, that is an amount that must be eventually paid.
Representative Turner?
That is correct.
Yes, sir.
With your permission, I know that Representative Pitts would be happy to stay and visit more about the budget to any member that wants to talk to him. There is a stack of committee requests to meet here. So if we could ask that we finish our questions with Representative Pitts here on the floor and then maybe move off to the side so that the committees could go do their work. I'm not trying to cut you off, but
I certainly would appreciate it if we had applied the rule at the very beginning, Mr. Chairman. I always try to comply with the rules, whatever the rules are. But I certainly will take my seat.
I'm sure Representative Pitts will be happy to stay here to answer more questions.